Done. Midsection anyway. This is a bit of a bitch to fit on the table, that's for sure. So I'm going to be putting the cutout somewhere in here, so it'll somewhat, because that's the back, it'll somewhat be hidden in here. Hopefully I can swing something like that, but yeah, that's all done. All the hangers are mocked up, V-band's welded on, so I guess I'll put this back on. I'm going to go get some lunch now because I'm absolutely starving. Get this on, mock up where I want the cutout, scallop the cutout so it fits on there nicely, then I'll have to pull this off and weld that on. Anyway, I'm ready to do the rear section, so it's taking shape. Oh, those welds are so nice. Alright, so it's all bolted back on. It's sitting nicely. It looks nice. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of anxious to hear how this sounds. So hopefully it's quiet enough. I do still have one more muffler slash res, well that Tornado one there, so that's going in the rear pipe, but for now, see there, got the V-band ready for the rear section. Here we are, all good. See all the mounts there, one there, and two here. So without further ado, let's fire it up. Alrighty, here we go. Still a little bit loud, so I'm going to put this on and hopefully that'll do the trick. I'll definitely take some sound away from it, so the old Tornado. Interesting to see if it actually robs any power. Safely say the exhaust is 98% done. All I got left to do now is this cutout, which will go somewhere there, and I'll just put a V-band with a 90 kind of dumping out just behind this muffler, so it should be pretty well hidden as you're looking from the back of the car. But anyway, this is the rear section done, as you just saw me in that time lapse. So it's got the Tornado resonator in there, which I'm hoping will quieten it down just enough. And my cool little hanger up there. So I'm going to start this up and fingers crossed that it's quiet enough. So let's see. Alright, so day 3, exhaust is done. I finished that last night. As you can see, hanging up over there, getting painted. I still have to put the O2 sensor bungs in the Y pipe, which I'm waiting for them to be delivered today, and then I can spray that up and get all this back on. So what I'm going to do is tackle some wiring, just because it should be pretty easy. So what I've got is a spare harness for my Commodore, as you can see there. So what I need to run through is an injector clip. So this is an EV1 injector. This is actually the alternator plug, but I'm just going to pinch that out of this loom because I'm not going to need it, rather than cutting up the actual injector clips. But same deal, same plug, EV1. So I'm going to cut that up. That's the good thing about working on a ute, is you've always got a workbench, no matter what. Oh, and I also do need to take the map sensor plug off, and I need to find my old 2-bar map sensor that I was running on my car before I upped the boost and needed a 3-bar. So this won't need to run through the bulkhead. This will be just, we're going to run the map sensor right in with the ECU, so we're just going to run a vacuum line through. And that should pretty well do us, I think. So I'm going to deconstruct this. Also got to pull through my exhaust cutout through the bulkhead as well, so I'll get cracking on that. Alright, so everything is run through to the car that we need. We've got 7th injector plug, that's ready to go. So when I get that sandwich plate on Friday, whack that straight on. Hopefully everything fits. So that plug will just be kind of hidden in the back there. So that's that. We'll also run the wire for the cutout down under the car. We've got a boost source going in, so for those of you who have this car or this supercharger, there is actually a blanked off nipple just behind these hoses here. So it's probably a bit too dark. We've got some silicone vacuum line going through, which goes into the cab. So then in here we're pretty much good to go. Just a couple of connections to be made, but I'll move on to something more important at the moment and let Ben worry about this. So 7th injector coming through, so that just needs to wire into the exceed. We've got the boost source, which will go to the map sensor. Also salvage the map sensor plug from my Commodore loom, so that can be wired in as well. I'll leave that for Benny. And then just the power for the cutout valve. So see, I've mounted the box up in there, nice and neat. So I'll probably just use the radio power source because it's already fused. I'll figure something out. So anyway, that's that. That's one thing off the list. So the only thing left to do for the exhaust cutout is I had to cut the ends off, but they're a shitty plug anyway, so I'll just put a nice Deutsch connector, waterproof. So I just got to crimp one of them on to the terminals, and then the cutout's good to go. Okay, so now it is pulley time. So I'm gonna, hopefully there's no problem. It's a little bit tight, as you'll see in a sec, between the pulley and the kind of snout of the supercharger, but I do have a split. Me and Ben were looking at it on Monday night when he was here, and I do have a split bearing puller, so we're pretty confident that'll be able to do it. So this is the puller that Ben gave me. Very nice unit, as you can see, but it's way too chunky to get this off. So if the split bearing puller doesn't do it, I can modify this one, but I've got a feeling it will, / hope it will. So yeah, this is what we got. We've got to pull the factory one off, then we'll put this modular pulley hub from ZZP on. So this is a press fit, but then it's got the cap screws, as you can see, so you can quick change all these. Then we've got a 255 and a 27. So Ben's guesstimation is this will probably make about 10 or 11 pound. This might make, I don't know, 9, 10. I'm kind of thinking 12, 10, so we'll see. So that's the weird thing about superchargers, is basically the boost can change depending on the engine setup, how well it breathes. You know, you might run the same pulley on your supercharger but put a new exhaust on, and the boost will decrease by a pound. That's because your engine's basically more efficient and it's breathing better. So to get even more air in, you obviously got to up the boost. More air, more fuel, more bang, more power. So hopefully this is alright. Alright, so obviously the first thing you got to do is get the belt off. So it's going to be very hard for me to show you, but basically the Supercharger is driven on its own section of the crank pulley. You can see where my finger's pointing there. So it goes up, it's got a tensioner. So the tensioner, it has space for a 1/2 inch socket to go in the head of it, which I've kind of jammed down onto here. So this is obviously a lot better with 2 people. Basically you just take the tension off and then drop the belt. So I've got to basically position this puller to be able to pull that off. While I'm here, I've taken this bolt out from here for the idler pulley holder, and this is the Subaru one that I've bought. So these are very handy for this kind of application. A lot of people use the Subaru ones because firstly because it's a double bearing, so it's got a bearing race on inside and outside. They're also pretty modular, like they fit for most things, and I think it will be perfect to add tension to this belt. You can probably get away with not doing it, but the smaller pulley you're going to have belt slip, especially with an older belt. So I'm hoping with the combined, the smaller pulley and with the smaller pulley and the standard belt, we should have enough room to have this in here to have enough tension on it. So all I'm going to have to do is machine this down, and then it will virtually sit back perfectly against this bit of casting here, and good to go. That's an extra thing that we'll do once we get this off. Once that's off, we're home and hosed. Well, halfway there. We've got to press the modular one on, but that shouldn't be too bad. So there we go, it's off. The old 3-jaw puller did the trick. So the next thing we've got to do is machine this snout down, because where is it? So you can certainly see the difference. So because this pulley essentially is wider, it needs clearance on the snout. As you can see. Bring in the ZZP snout cutting tool. So the next thing is you've got to get this modular pulley hub on here. So I suggest buying the actual install tool, which looks like this. You've essentially got a 8mm locating thread, and you can essentially just wind this on. So let's see how it goes. So as you could probably see, the Supercharger was spinning too much, so I just chucked it on the mill and put a couple of flats on this so we can hold it with a spanner now. So now it should go on without spinning the Supercharger. We'll see. bottomed out now. I'll bolt this on, check that the ribs line up, and then if so, we're all good. It does have the ability to go further, like that snout can actually come through to there if needed be. We have enough space here, we've got about 4 mil at the back, so yeah, mate, we're looking good. Alright, so there we have it, it's on, and the ribs line up, which is also brilliant. So the pulley that's made for Commodores works perfectly on the Toyota 1GR FE with the old Magnuson MP90, so that's good. I've also checked the belt, so that's with the tensioner about half. I've kind of jammed a block of timber in there just to hold some tension off the belt. I've still got another half to go, so I'll be able to fit that perfectly, and that will end up being fucking beautiful. So all I've got to do now, the only hard thing is just to machine this down, because obviously that spins from the outer casing, so chucking it up in the lathe is a little bit of work. But what I'm going to do is just get some steel or some alloy or something and just turn it down and make an interference fit that I can press that on, put that in there, put the center in there, and kind of either part it off or I'll just turn it down. Turning it down is probably better because you're putting force on through that axis as against, you know, as opposed to a radial kind of axis. So yeah, I'll get onto that shortly, and that will be the supercharger pulley setup done. Well, pretty successful day. We're on target. I've literally got tomorrow to finish everything up, so that is the fuel pump, my custom CNC 7th injector bracket for there has been machined and is on its way to the airport right now to be overnighted to Sydney, where we are. So big shout out to Ben at AB CNC. You are a fucking legend. You're the one that's made this build possible. So he's pumped that out in like 4 days for me, from design to sending it out the door. So thanks, bro. So yeah, Ben's coming this afternoon. We're gonna take this out for a drive, test everything's working in real life in the street. Well, I have no doubt, because it runs fucking beautifully. So what I'm gonna do, I'll save the fuel tank for tomorrow, like I said. So what I'm gonna do now is fiddle around with the airbox. So, but I've taken the factory mount out. This will all fuck off. The airbox looks like it's good. I'll show you in a sec, but I'm just gonna have to slightly trim off what they've got and move the inlet to suit that hole. I could cut more of that out, but it's just a shame to adulterate this car. So for 25 bucks, I'll show you guys the easiest way. And other than that, it looks pretty good. And I'm gonna have to shorten this intake pipe that's gonna be here. That's why I've got this nice aeroflow fitting, because I'm gonna lose the one that's for that. And as you can see, supercharger pulley's all done. I've ended up moving it one rib over because it was, you can kind of see the wear mark on this idler pulley. So it was slightly over on that. So it runs pretty true now. This is so exciting. I'm really forming an attachment with this car, so sorry Bill. I don't know if you're ever getting it back, buddy. So I'm gonna get cracking on this airbox and have a look at that. And one more thing, I almost forgot, supercharger oil. So Bill has gone to Toyota and got the supercharger oil. Essentially, I think there's a little blanking bolt under there. You just got to undo that, suck all the old stuff out. They give you a syringe, and then put the new stuff in. And for some weird reason, they don't include this in any of Toyota's servicing. So, alright, so here we go. As you can hopefully see that little inlet that they've got there. That's obviously hitting the inner guard. So what I'm going to do is just cut. So I've got this air filter adapter, which is like just a bulkhead fitting essentially, which will fit perfectly in that hole down there, as you can see. So this goes something like that. Obviously it's a bit too long, especially once we put the throttle body adapter, so that's coming out about 30mm from memory. So essentially, as I was saying before, you have to cut this off, say there. And this is normally where this PCV hose comes in here. Hence why I've got this 90-degree fitting, so I'm just going to drill and tap that into there. Then I'll just have to get one more fitting, which looks like it's there anyway. Potentially it looks like an 1/8" NPT or something, which will go to the fuel pressure regulator. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. And it's just a matter of doing some mounts. So it's not really, nothing too really difficult about this. That's done. It's just a matter of getting this mounted in the car. So look, normally I'm a bit apprehensive about saying this, but I think it's going to be a piece of piss. Sometimes you just get lucky. So I'm thinking probably from this stud here for the ABS module, I'll run a bracket across there, down and out, nut through there, or bolt through there, sorry. Same deal here, down, across, bolt through there, and literally plonk it on top, drill into it. Probably to put a nutcert in the flat bar, screw, and bolt through the airbox into the nutcert. That's it. So yeah, with the magical click of my finger, this will be done. Now it's done. So chuck the lid on, then it's time for a bit of a drive, I think. Raining out there. Yeah. Alright guys, so it's now about 8 o'clock at night. We're all hungry. We've got Andrew here, we've got Ben here. Benny is he's done with his telco now, so he can get back to work. What are you doing?
Howdy. Oh, just sniffing around your glove box. Map sensor's wired in.
Yep.
So the map sensor up here. Got all the looms, just tidying it all up.
So much room for activities.
Ooh, yeah.
So what you're saying is we're ready to go for a...
Yeah, we're almost ready for a systems check.
Have you done a... What? So that wire comes out of the glove box and then...
It's on a plug.
Oh, it's still loose?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's on a plug.
False alarm, don't worry. I'll cut that out. So then we're ready to go for a drive. In the wet. Yeah. Well, would you look at that? That looks, what do you reckon, mate? Pretty clean?
Pretty neat, yeah, it looks a lot better than what it did.
Were you with Bill when he first bought this car?
No.
Yeah, that's, apart from the throttle body spacer, that's this bay done. Fuck, it's time for dinner, man. Let's do it. I guess this means it's drive time.
Yeah,
Codes are cleared. It's getting close to midnight. Tuning time. Nothing like going for a rip with a tray full of gear. That's how you do it in Australia with a ute.
Okay, it's go time.
Give it a bit of a hit.
What's that?
The accelerator.
Oh, give it a hit.
Yeah. Oh, open her up. Let me get some induction sound. Make the charger really spool up.
And
You want to send it?
send it.